فإن تنازعتم في شيء فردوه إلى الله والرسول إن كنتم تؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر ذلك خير وأحسن تاويلا.
الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام الأتمان الأكملان على رسولنا ونبينا قدوتنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, we have received 4 or 5 questions, one in Tajweed and Qira'at, and the rest in Fiqh. The first question is, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I have 2 questions. In some verses, أنا, the word أنا is read without met. For example, فقال أنا ربكم الأعلى إذ قال إبراهيم ربي الذي يحيي ويميت قال أنا أحيي وأميت. Is there any reason? Is there any reason for that? So this regarding this question, known in قراءات الألفات السبع, the rulings of 7 alif in Quran. And this according to Imam Hafs, the riwayah most of the people follow in the word, that we have 7 alif in the Quran. We apply them, we pronounce them, or we give them 2 harakat when we pause, and when we connect with the following words, we do not apply them. And this alifat we have in Surah Al-Kahf, lakinna wallahu rabbi. For example, when we pause, we said lakinna, and the reason is divided into 2. It is supposed to be lakin, ana, but am, right? So when it's read together, it has followed the first hukum. So if I read this word, I say lakinna, if I pause. If I connect it with the following words, I say لكنه الله ربي. So there is no met. We have also the 3 words in Surah Al-Ahzab, الرسول, السبيل, and الظنون. So the same. If you pause, you say الرسول to harakat, الظنون to harakat, السبيل to harakat. If you connect, there is no met. The next word is the first qawarira in Surah Al-Insan, because there are two words there. Qawarira, verse number 15. So if we pause, say qawarira. If we connect, qawarira min fidda, right? The second qawarira, it has no mad at all, right? Before the last is the word salasila, from Surah Al-Insan, verse number 4. So salasila, according to Hafs from Shatibiyah, has 2 ways when you pause. You either pause with sukun, salasil, or salasila with 2 haraka. However, if you connect, there is no mat. سلاسل وأغلالا وسعيرا, سلاسل وأغلالا وسعيرا, right? Plus أنا, number 7. So أنا, according to Imam Asim, whether Hafs or Shu'bah, all أنا in the Quran, when you pause, we prolong the alif, right, as 2 haraka, mad tabi'i. However, if you connect it with the following words, there is no mad at all, right? The reason why, according to language, we have 2 main schools. As we know, the Quran follow the Arabic language. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inna anzalnahu Qur'anan Arabiyya. We have revealed it in Arabic language, right? We said, bilisanin Arabiyyin mubin. We have 2 main schools, as I mentioned. We have the school of Basra and we have the school of Al-Kufa. School of Basra, they said the alif in the word ana is not original. So which means the original the word or letters there is only Hamza and Nun. But since if you pause there, there will be sukun. If you pause or read it without alif, you have to read it an. So they add the alif just to show the haraka or the vowel of noon, which is fatha. So adding alif just to show the vowel fatha of ana. This is according to school of Basra. However, school of Kufa said the alif there is original. And why we remove it when we connect it with the following words, just because of difficulties. So since it's difficulty to apply it, so the Qur'an, they remove it. But Alif is the original of the Alif. So basically, Basra said Alif is not original. That's why we remove it when we connect. And the Kufa said it's original, but we remove it because of difficulties. However, Imam Ibn Jazari rahimahullah mentioned that reading Ana with an alif is also authentic language and the language of Qais and Hudayl. That's why in other qira'at like qira'at of Imam Abu Ja'far or qira'at of Imam Nafi', they prolong al-alif when it's followed by fatha, alif maftuha or alif madmuma, and also riwayah in Qalun even when the alif maksura. So the summary is, as we mentioned, Ana in Hafs, there is no med at all when we connect, but when we pause, we apply it with the two reasons we have mentioned. I hope the question is clear. The second part of the question is in Hafs, and I only know Hafs. Some meds are read 4, 5, and 6 in length. Is it to beautify the recitation, or there is a reason why it is read that way? So this question, as you know, she's asking about the Mudood, the length in Mudood, Mad Muttasil and Munfasil. And we know, according to Imam Hafs, we have 3 ways. So the Qurra, or the Qurra, they take their riwayat from the 3 famous Imams from their chain to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. We have through Imam Abu Amr Ad-Dani in his book At-Taysir, and passed away 440. And the second one, Imam Al-Shatibi in his book Al-Shatibiyya, who passed away 580 after the immigration of Nabi Sallam. And the third madhab, or the third school, is a school of Imam Ibn al-Jazari, who passed away 833 after the immigration of the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So according to Hafs from Shatibiya and Taysir, we have in Mad Muttasil and Munfasil only 4, 5 harakat. However, from Ibn al-Jazari, we have in Muttasil and Munfasil up to 6 harakat. So the reason why we prolong them, or the length, due to 3 reasons. The first one, we follow a chain. So these Qurra, Hafs or Al-Shatibi, from his chain to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he received it 4, 5 harakat, right? Ibn al-Jazari, he collects up to 6 harakat. As you know, the 3 main conditions to accept a qira'ah, as was mentioned by Ibn al-Jazari, the first is the chain, continuously sanad, the sanad connected up to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. The second one is following the writing of Mus'haf Uthman bin Affan. And the third condition is to follow the Arabic language. So we have mentioned the 3 main madhab in that. And if we look to the reason from the Arabic parts, the scholars said they prolong al-mad of muttasil or munfasil 4 and 5 because of the heaviness of Hamza. So since Hamza is heavy, it has a sifa of jahar and shidda, and as you know, very strong sifat, plus it's pronounced from the throat, and compared with the alif, it's very weak. Alif, well, yeah, the letters of Med considered very weak letters So we prolong the alif there is to match the heaviness of al-hamza. Prolonging alif, the reason of prolonging alif is to what? To match, so we'll have the same strength between the hamza that has two main strong sifa plus the alif that is weak. Prolonging is to get the same level from the side of the strength. Wallahu ta'ala alam. These reasons were mentioned by the scholars as Imam al-Jazari rahimahullah ta'ala. Third reason also the sunnah, as we know Imam al-Tabarani reported in his book that a man came to Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu and he read the verse إنما الصدقات للفقراء والمساكين. So he read al-fuqara without prolonging al-alif. Without prolonging, it means il-fuqara'i without mad. So Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu told the man, this is not the way I was taught by the Prophet. So the man asked Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu how the Prophet taught you to read this way. He said, مدها إنما الصدقات للفقراء والمساكين. So this is basically the answer. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. Barakallah. The next question is here about Zakaat-ul-Fitr. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I have a question regarding Zakaat-ul-Fitr. To my understanding, the objective of Zakat-ul-Fitr is to provide food from those who are eligible, staple food like grains, barley, etc., so that they can eat to celebrate it. Here, the question, I mean, she has mentioned the objective of Zakat-ul-Fitr. Basically, the objective of Zakat-ul-Fitr, the scholars have mentioned three main objectives of Zakat-ul-Fitr. The first one, they mention Hadith al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Hadith Ibn Abbas that reported by Abi Dawud and Majah. فرض رسول الله. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam prescribed Zakatul-Fitr for the one who fasts, for the one who fasts, طهرة للصائم من اللغو والرفث وطعم للمساكين. So he mentioned Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam two reasons. طهرة means to purify the one who fasts from al-laghu. And the laghu, we know, the ill speech, or the speech has no benefits, right? The second reason is al-rafath. And al-rafath, as Imam Ibn Kathir mentioned, al-rafath here is al-kalamu al-fahish, obscene talk. Obscene what? Talk. So Ramadan will, by giving Zakat al-Fitr, is like you are removing these sins, or you are just like make up these mistakes. Just like when we do mistakes during our salah, we make up it with what? We sujood al-sahw. Here is the same. The ma'asi that's under minor sins will be make up by Zakat-ul-Fitr. وَطُعْمَ لِلْمَسَاكِينَ, and to feed poor people. This is the first reason. The second reason is to make poor people in a day of Eid having time to enjoy the Eid with their family. Another way is not to make them busy with looking for food in a time of Eid. And they use hadith reported by Ad-Daraqutni that Nabi Sallam said, أغنوهم عن الصدقات هذا اليوم. So make them in that day not busy with asking what? For sadaqah. And this hadith, even though scholars said the meaning is correct and authentic, but the hadith is weak, as Imam An-Nawawi rahimahullah and Ibn Hajar confirmed that due to the Abu Ma'shar that Imam Bayhaqi and others said is what is a weak. He is not to remember the hadith that he narrates, but the meaning is correct. The last reason is to show thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, showing grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are the three main objectives behind Zakat-ul-Fitr. The second part of the question is, what if I have received so much rice? I'm wondering, do we still have to give them rice or can give alternative food? This question actually comes under the question that what I should give from Zakat al-Fitr. Do I have to follow exactly what were mentioned by Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, or I have alternative? In Zakat al-Fitr, what to give, we have two main hadith. Hadith Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu, and reported by Bukhari and Muslim, he said, فرض رسول صلى الله عليه وسلم زكاة الفطر صاعا من تمر أو صاعا من شعير. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم prescribed Zakatul Fitr to be given as sa' from date or sa' from barley. And the second hadith, hadith Abi Sa'id al-Khudri radiallahu anhu, and both hadith in Bukhari and Muslim, he said, we use in the time of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam to give zakat as sa' from ta'am, food, right? And we will come to the term, the word food. Or sa'an min sha'ir, barley, or sa'an min tam, date, or sa'an min aqid, cheese, or sa'an min zabib, raisin. And at the end of the hadith, he said, and in that time, our food or our basic food were from these four things, which means the barley, date, cheese, and raisin. So the scholars, when they look to this hadith, I mean the four imams, Abu Hanifa rahimahullah said, you have the choice. You either you give food, or even in Madhab Abu Hanifa, you can give money, if that is a maslaha for that. Madhab Imam Malik and Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, they said, you have to give according to the staple food, or the regular food in that place, or basic food in that place. So since now in the hadith there is no rice, but most of the country, their basic food is what? Rice. So can we give rice or not? According to Malik and Shafi'i, you give rice. Imam Ahmad, he said, you have to follow the five things in a hadith. We believe, Wallahu ta'ala alam, the most correct opinion here is the opinion of Imam Malik and Shafi, because of two or three reasons. The first reason, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in hadith Abi Sa'id al-Khudri, sa'an min ta'am. So he did not mention or specify the type of ta'am. Sa'an min ta'am. And ta'am, and the food, it comes rice, lentil, beans, comes pasta, right? And the second reason why we choose Madhab Malik and Shafi'i, because Abu Sa'id at the end of the hadith said, and in that time, our basic food was from these four things. And he mentioned barley, date, cheese, and raisins. The third reason is because the Sharia looked to maslahah. So nowadays, most of the people eat rice. If you give them aqid as a cheese, perhaps some people they don't eat cheese at all, right? Or date, for example. So the correct opinion, Allahu Ta'ala alam, is the opinion of Malik and the Shafi'i. So based on the question, you can give them what is considered stable food in that country, maybe pasta, maybe beans, or rice. Allahu Ta'ala. The last question here we have, I usually complete my period in 6 days and fast on the 7th. This year I started fasting on the 7th day, but saw a little blood during the day. And it stopped at night. It's now the 10th day and it is still the same thing, what I should do. Mr. Barakallah Fik, under menstruation, women divide into 3 categories. So the first one called beginner, mubtadi'ah. The second one called mu'tada, means she used to have period before and she knows the day and she said she can even she can differentiate between istihara and hayd. The third category is mutahayyira, means she confused, she forget the previous period, how many days, right? So according to this question, looks is from the second category, mu'tada, means she used to have 6 days before, or her period, regular period is 6 days. Here we have 2 hadith. Hadith Fatima bint Hubaysh in Sahih al-Bukhari, when she came to the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and told him, my blood or my periods does not keep running and does not stop. So the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, this is not hayd, this is not a menses, right? This is a vein. So when you finish, when it reaches 6 days, you have to take shower and start your prayers and fasting as usual. And the second hadith is hadith Habiba in Sahih Muslim, when she came to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and told him that the blood is keep running, what they should do. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, umkuthi, meaning follow umkuthi qadra haydaki as-sabiq thumma اغتسلي وصلي. So follow the previous dawra, or the previous menses. So if it was, then when you reach to that day, what you need to do is to take shower, and the blood, if keep running, consider what? Consider istihada. Wallahu ta'ala alam. This is the most easy and matches the hadith. We have other opinions that's according to Imam Malik, to add 3 days, and after 3 days you take shower, start your fasting. We have madhab of Abu Hanifa is to wait until 15 days, which is the maximum hayd, and after they take shower. But the most easy one here is to follow the previous what? Dawra or period. Then when you reach to that, the day after, just take shower and start your usual prayer and other ibadat. These all the questions of today. Hope is clear. Barakallahu fikum. Subhanakallah wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.